My name is James Earl Jones III. I am the former original drummer with the S.O.S band.
Okay. And how did you get into drumming?
I got in drumming while I was in Philadelphia, and I was in high school. I just liked rhythm and just hitting my legs and just beating on things. And I had a job working at a hardware store, saved me some money, and I bought some drums. And from there on, I was just messing around with certain beats, listening to records, because that's how you learn. You listen to a record, and you hear certain rhythms, and then you try the same rhythm that you just heard on the actual drums. My oldest brother helped me out with that a lot, and another guy by the name of Nate Murray helped me out. He played bass. I was playing on my front porch, put my drums outside. He rode past and say, "Hey, you want to be in a band? How'd you like to be in my band?" From Philadelphia, we started playing all the little bars in Philadelphia. Yeah. Well, when I came to Atlanta in 1972, I didn't have equipment. So I got a job, and I bought drums from working, saved money. Same thing. My aunt got me a job working with her and her company that she worked for, and I saved money. I bought drums. So then I start going to clubs, sitting in like a lot of musicians there. I like to sit in on certain songs with, hey, call him up, he can play, da-da-da. So some of the first guys I played with or sat in with was Jimmy Brown and Ray Ransom, which later on was the group Brick. They performed, the group Brick. Also Reggie, the guitar player. First, S.O.S got together. I was playing in a band on Camilton Road in Atlanta, a club called the Regal Room. Everybody know that club. You can say Regal Room in Atlanta. Yeah, I know what that is, Camilton Road. A lot of clubs on Camilton Road. We used to go up and down and play at different clubs. So I would play at the Regal Room, and I was playing with a real good bass player that played with the Crusaders. His name was Robert Popwell. So me and him played together a lot. And from there, a lot of groups, we used to always have a jam session on Saturday afternoons. So a lot of groups and people, different musicians, would come in and sit in. So I decided, and I met Jason. Jason Bryan used to come in and sit in with us a lot of times. He was on the road traveling with a guy named Dave Whitfield. So Jason said, well, hey, why don't me and you put a band together? Fine, I said, that's good with me. I love playing with you. He said, I love playing with you. So me and Jason got together, and while Jason said, well, I'll be out on the road. While I'm out on the road, why don't you get the musicians, put them together. When we come off the road, we'll start playing together. And that's exactly what happened. I told the guys I was playing with at the Regal Room, hey, me and Jason are going to start a band. So we took it from there. Then from there on, we started having jam sessions. A lot of musicians start sitting in, playing with us. So we got to know different musicians, and we just pick out the musician you would like to, incorporate. So we started from there. The individual musicians, I didn't know exactly what city they were originated from, but most of the musicians, and I would say a good 90% of them were from Atlanta, right here in Atlanta. Definitely. Most of the musicians from Atlanta, and every Saturday that would happen, they knew that at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, we had a jam session. And then after the jam session was over, the jam session maybe would run almost 4 o'clock or whatever, 12 to 4. After that, then it was time to come back to the club and play the regular nighttime gig at the club. When you're in a nightclub, it's just you're partying, you're dancing, people buying drinks and everything, you're meeting other people. That same scene happened during the day, and it happened at night. Same scene. Same exact scene. The only thing about at night, we didn't have a lot of different musicians sitting in. At nighttime, when the actual club, it's just like the sun going up, sun going down. But nighttime, we actually used the actual musicians that were in the band to play most of the night. Unless you had a real good guy that can play or sing, we asked, he asked, could he sit in, or we invite him up, so, hey, we got a special guest, we have him come up and sing or play. There was so many clubs in Atlanta for musicians to play. There was very rarely an unemployed musician. All the musicians worked. So when you're playing cover songs, sometimes a lot of guys have in their mind they would like to incorporate an original song that they wrote also, because their main goal was to try to get a record deal. That's the thing is, let's get a record deal, you know. So they would incorporate an original song into the cover songs. And when you're not working in a nightclub, you get together and you start practicing and working on original songs. So in the course of working on original songs, then you want to find out who can listen to them, who can get you a record deal. We didn't have a manager. Now that's the thing about it. We didn't have a manager while we were playing in the Regal Room in Atlanta. We didn't have a manager. No, we came up with the idea. Matter of fact, Billy Ellis, one of the horn players in the band, Bill said, "Well, hey, whoever gets us a record deal or get us tied into someone that can get us a deal, we're gonna have that person be the manager." So between Milton Lamar, who owned the Regal Room, and he knew Bunny Ransom, which was the ex-wife of Maynard Jackson, the mayor. So we gave both of them demo tape. Bunny got in touch with Clarence Avant. Clarence Avant said, "This band sound pretty good. I think we can do something." So Clarence sent a producer after he heard us. He sent a producer. And as we sent him more material, it got better and better. So he said, "Well, hey, look, this is the guy. We can do it. Let's do it." Everybody had an idea of what type of song would probably get us to where we need to be, along with, in competition with a lot of other bands. So they said, "Well, hey, man, listen to my song. And the producer that Clarence sent was Sagidi. So Sagidi had ideas that certain songs that he had written, a lot of his friends had written, because Sagidi knew a lot of people in the industry, a lot, from Motown to Silvers, a lot of people. So we took songs from each people that they wanted, original songs that they even wrote. We listened to them, but Sagidi had a real good idea, and when we heard one of his first ideas, we said, that ain't gonna make it. That sounds too elementary. Do 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 do. So, oh man, all the musicians is playing this and playing that, playing all these rhythms, and we come in with do 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 do, and do 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 do. Turned out to be the biggest hit biggest song or the best song we ever heard. So it worked like that. He knew cats from James Brown's band. Fred Wesley came in, did horn arrangements and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot. We had some people from Ray Parker band come in. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Sagidi knew all these people in the industry. We knew hardly anybody. Yeah, the way we worked through Leon Silver, was through Sagidi. Yeah, Sagidi knew him because that was like a California connection. Yeah, and Sagidi was from California, out in that area, definitely. What Howard Hewitt and Leon Silvers had, that's like a chemistry that I didn't know that particular chemistry. I really didn't know how that worked or how Sagidi connected with them, with Howard Hewitt and Leon Silvers.
Okay, so what was it like working with Leon?
Believe it or not, it was like presenting a song. Leon would have like songs, demos, just like we would do, and from there on, I guess it's almost like you just pick which one you like or pick one you want to work with, and Sagidi handled all that. It was all like Sagidi's like the point man for things to happen, Everything was focused on basically in the beginning with Sagidi. For me to leave the band and for them to agree with me leaving and them doing what they needed to do, we had two different ideas. I was more so, believe it or not, between me and the band, I more so had a lot of business on my mind, of ways that the band could survive even in the future. I was thinking way beyond that. While they focused still mainly on music, my mind went business other than drums. So I wasn't blending in, playing drums in the style of music they wanted to keep on playing, but that was the difference. We played all the little clubs in Atlanta, all the clubs in Atlanta we played, and some outside venues we played, which were other nightclubs as well. Like going to Mobile, going to Indiana, places like that. Madison Square Garden was our first biggest gig that we ever had. That was the first biggest gig we've ever done in everyone's life. It was the biggest one. So for me, I just walked out on the floor in Madison Square Garden and just looked around, saw all the seats in there. I said, oh gosh, there's going to be a lot of people in here. So when I went out, I walked around, took a look, and I said to myself, and I looked up in the sky, I said, God, please be with me and don't let me make no mistakes in playing drums. And it was something, plus, the headliners, we didn't know the headliners. We never had a conversation or met them personally in Madison Square Garden, the headliners, all the groups that you hear on the radio, before we even had a hit record. They were standing on stage, right, doing a sound check or checking their equipment and stuff like that, talking, and the promoter was Norby Walters. He was on stage with them, and it was something to see each musician have their own Rolls Royce or limousine. You standing, these guys pulling up in their own Rolls Royce and limousine. You saying, "Wow!" It was exciting to be on stage, and we're playing our one of the first songs off the album, and then you go into the actual hit song, which was "Take Your Time." It's a lot of pressure because everybody's looking at you. Not only the people in the audience are looking at you, the headliners, the group before the headliners, and all the other people that have had hit records, they're on stage with you. They're on the side because they didn't know who S.O.S. was, and they wanted to find out who S.O.S. was all about. They were right there looking at you. Just looking at you, and you just constantly playing. I'm playing and playing, and I'm looking to the side, looking at them. Oh, Lord. I said, I ain't dropping no stick. I ain't going to speed up the song. I ain't going to slow the song down. I'm going to tune in. The headliner was the Isley Brothers. After the Isley Brothers was Cameo and Stephanie Mills.
Ooh, they was some heavy hitters.
Yes, that's why we couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Because they were all on the side checking us out. They said, who is S.O.S? They never heard of us before. So they was checking. One of my mentors playing drums, I like Billy Cobham. Bad drummer. Good drummer. Billy Cobham. And the second drummer, I like Buddy Miles. Billy Cobham and Buddy Miles, yes. Because I also like Jimi Hendrix. So when I saw Billy Miles playing with Hendrix, oh man, I love that. Cats can play. And then I looked at a lot of Billy Cobham drum solos and pockets. Fascinating. Once I left S.O.S., I decided to put my own band together. Even though I figured, just like I said in the beginning, I thought about more business. I was thinking of more business than playing. So I figured if I had my own band together, I could go into something that the music industry require or I'm in competition with as far as business is concerned. Making an investment, making a band invest into maybe having their own studio or either other outside investments. Those are the type of things that are on my mind. Plus, like I said, I like wires. I love wires. So, hauling all those drums in day and night and moving stuff like that before I got in S.O.S. because after S.O.S., while in there, we had roadies. We had guys that actually handled it, so all that weight was off of me. But after I, got out of S.O.S. and had my own band and stuff, I went back to carrying my own drums and playing different clubs in Atlanta again. I started a band called Anzari, Anzari, Anzari. And even with that, just looking for that next step. I knew what I needed to do, and I knew what I needed to try to strive for. And as the years just kept going, I kept playing, putting money aside, and then all of a sudden, things changed. My ideas changed. I still stay business. I've always kept a business mind, even to this day. There's still business on my mind. It's just that way. It's more business than anything. Organization. On one hand, you think about Madison Square Garden, the Superdome, the Forum. You think about all these big places you played, the Checker Dome. You think of all these big concerts you played and all these people, and now you're no longer going to see that. You see what I'm saying? So on this hand, it's almost like you backed up. Now on this hand, I'm back at playing small nightclubs. See? And that's the only thing inside at that particular moment, at that particular time that I felt really hurt about. I said, well, dang, man, I done backed up because I haven't got to my future goal. I haven't got to where I wanted to be. I said, oh, Lord. Some nights you cry. Some nights you can't get no sleep. You said, oh, Lord, look what didn't happen to me. I'm no longer with the S.O.S. band. What am I going to do? You feel that. And it's kind of, if you look at those moments, it was not horrible. It was more hurting than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because you're comparing. Okay? You're doing a comparison from what you used to do to what you back doing. It's like almost like, did I take a step back? No. The band that I created after S.O.S. Anzari was cool. I was happy with them guys because I liked them. I like all the musicians. They could play, and I felt as though like when I started playing, going backwards, playing the clubs, there's a lot of people there that like. I never had to say, the ex-drummer of the S.O.S. band. I never even had to mention that. That was a good thing to me. You know what I'm saying? S.O.S. was great. They've always been a good band. I always love all those guys. But when I found out, hey man, I got my own band, Anzari, and all the people like Anzari, and all the other musicians used to come and watch Anzari perform. Yeah, I was cool. I liked that. Some of the members that were actually in Anzari was a guitar player named John Thompson.
Okay.
We had a bass player named Ronnie Jackson.
Okay.
We had a keyboard player named JB and also Carl King. And that was basically, we had a rhythm section. And we had a horn section, not a horn section, but horn player. We had a horn player by the name of Prince Anthony. And believe it or not, that was about it. We had different, every now and then a different musician. But basically we had a good, strong rhythm section that stayed with me for years. It was great, With the second band, the difference between connecting with Clarence, we didn't work on original songs as much as S.O.S. did. And before S.O.S. became S.O.S., it was Santa Monica. So we worked on a lot of original songs with Santa Monica for all that whole S.O.S. thing to happen. So that's one thing we didn't focus on. And the thing about it when you're doing, a lot of things change. When you got a band and you're playing clubs, your mind is like focused on the next club, this club, and a lot of bands, some bands will underbid you. Oh, let me play here, I'll do it for $100 less. Now you fighting for, just to keep working. You know what I'm saying? So now you fight just to keep working because you're being underbid. And then I didn't have the mind with the band that I created to do corporate. Corporate wasn't even on my mind, which just local. And then I say, You know, when you think about it, after so many years, you say, well, you know what? To get to a certain goal, we'd have made more money if we'd have went corporate. But that didn't happen. Something that I didn't do in the past, was just like I just said, it would have been corporate. It would have been corporate. You know, I'd have reached out because I've reached out to a lot of my friends or musicians that do play corporate. You know, and a couple of my friends, you know, I seen what they accomplished in doing corporate. They've created a limousine service, bus service. They've even added other bands to their band. You know, so like he has a band could have a main group, and then he knows so many other musicians, he could start a second group, and they're like really like tied together. So he's actually making money off his band and the second group. I've learned that too. What would I tell a young person that wants to do any kind of music? A lot of times I hear, stick to your heart, stick to what you believe in. But also I would tell a person, listen and look at what's going on. And if you could learn how they got there, try it. But also think about trying to, you know, it's something. It's between, when you say music, it's like any kind of music or style of music, you know? Rap and all of this. I'm not putting it down. That's what people do. But I would never. I listen to some rap music and other hip hop music, which has good grooves. They sound beautiful. The only thing I don't particularly care is the language that a lot of it use. I don't particularly care for that. And I would encourage a young guy, say, look, man, the music is great, sounds good, but just think if you took out certain words, it would still be good music. So it's almost like you didn't have to say that. The music is good, and the lyrics are great, but you could just take out certain words. That's what I would do. Whether it's writing music, playing music, the advice that I would give a person that want to get into the music industry is do your homework. Practice. Because the only thing you only get out of it what you put in it. That's it. If you don't put anything in it, you ain't going to get nothing out of it. If you work hard, do your research, I guarantee you, and I mean whatever it takes, whether it takes losing sleep, getting up early, going to see other musicians and entertainers, learn, write it down, memorize it, record it, however it takes for you to make step one, step two. At least you ain't letting no grass grow up on your feet. You are getting closer to your goal each time you would do that. Each time you would go see someone or write it down or it's getting close to what you want to do, you practicing it, you get better. Each time you practice, you get better. You get better. People that motivated me in the industry, wow, it's basically it's bands. I listen to a lot of bands and separate musicians. I just like bands and grooves. It's like it's like an ear, trying to develop an ear. You develop an ear for what you like or what you heard or what captures you. If you could be walking or moving, something's going to catch you because you can hear it, you know. And if you like what you hear, you stay on that track. You say, well, man, I like to do that. Like, I've never been a bass player, couldn't play bass, but I love bass. I love bass players, man. Caskin. It's just that thing about drums and bass. That's that bottom. That's the foundation of the house. You got to have that bass and drums. To me.
That's basic African.
Yeah, everything else is the icing on the music. We rehearse to make any group better. You got to rehearse. We rehearse early in the morning. We rehearse before people went to work. We used to go to the Regal Room, and we had a key to get in, or we would meet Lamar there. He would let us in. We will rehearse early in the morning till late in the afternoon, till the club got ready to open, and the club opened like close to when people got off work, like 3, 4 o'clock. Yeah, we rehearse a lot of times, almost every day. Almost every day. Epic moments about the Regal Room. Regal Room was almost like a family place because you got the same musicians and you got the same people getting off work or coming into the club. You see them just about every even though you playing there week after week, you see the same people. And some new people, from out of town or people that's never been there or they heard that we were playing there. It's almost like a family place, just like Cheers on the television show. Some of the artists that stopped by, that sat in and played with us, some of the members of Brick, the group Brick. Some of the members of Brick, in which I played for before they became Brick, was Jimmy Brown, Ray Ransom, Reggie Hargis. Those are the main three that I played with before they became Brick. And both of us had the same manager, Bunny Ransom. We both had the same manager. The gold record is a 500,000 500,000 sales, I believe. It's something. You're in the studio, you cut it, and all of a sudden you hear it on the radio. So your next thing is you hear it again. And then you start hearing it again and again. So now numbers start to pop in your mind. You're saying, well, wow, I wonder how many it's going to take to reach. Because we knew about gold, platinum, how many golds we have to get, how many sales we have to get in order for it to get gold, which was 500,000. And then it had to be 1 million for a gold single. Gold album, 500,000. 1 million for a gold single. I believe 1 million for a gold single. Over 1 million for platinum. I believe that's what it was. Not sure, those figures. But each time, they played. You couldn't believe it, man. You heard yourself on the radio, you started screaming. My mom was running up down the highway showing the record. My son's playing with S.O.S, man. Stuff like that, man. It was real cool, man. It's just something. Then you play in your hometown. Oh, man. And you got gold and platinum. Good feeling. When we first heard Take Your Time, it was here. We was in Atlanta. We heard it on the radio. We were here in Atlanta. It wasn't. I don't recall if we were on the road when we first heard it. We were actually in Atlanta when it came, but still during that, it was so much happening because it started growing and growing and growing and growing. Even our manager, I remember when she called Barry White, and she told Barry White, she said, the band's coming out to L.A. and stuff like that, and I'm sorry, first thing she talked to was Clarence Avant. She told Clarence Avant. Clarence Avant called Barry White. Barry White said, hey, okay, I'll do what I can when it comes out of there, because Clarence said, Barry, we got to make this happen. He said, I'm going to help you. And that was really cool to have that connection, to know that, Clarence Avant was, we could say, he was the head man in Taboo Records, which was part of CBS Records, was part of CBS. Clarence Avant was, you could say, manager over top of Bunny, if you want to say that. But he was the man. Clarence Avant was. I learned more about Clarence Avant as time went on. Clarence Avant was involved with so many people in the record industry and outside the record industry itself. I didn't even know that he had a lot to even do with Hank Aaron and a whole lot of people in the record industry, and Michael Jackson as well. Yeah, I had no clue how powerful that guy was. Real powerful. I heard an incident happen where Clarence Avant went to a record. They had a meeting with a lot of people head of record companies, and one guy said, "Who was that guy sitting at the table?" But it was Clarence. And the guy told him, "Say if he wasn't here, you wouldn't be here." Clarence was that powerful guy. Yeah, I really don't know. Clarence Avant just knew everybody. He knew everybody, it's just a point of when you know a lot of people, important people, and you know how to get things done without even having a lot of money. It happen. You can make things happen without even having a lot of money. It's just who you know. Being on Soul Train was, I mean, it's almost like the very first gig, the very first big gig. It's like the very first big TV program we were on, with Don Cornelius, looking at all the dancers. And while we were out in California cutting Soul Train, we cut a few other TV shows like The Captain and Tennille, Dance Fever. We also did Soul to Soul with Dionne Warwick, Solid Gold. Solid Gold with Dionne Warwick. That was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal to meet him. See him on television. Now you're doing it. Oh wow, that was real cool. Yeah, I love it. Well, being there, going there, it wasn't because like a lot of the recordings, you're like really playing to the track, something you've already recorded. So it was easy because it's something you already recorded. So all you're doing is sitting there mimicking what you've recorded. And, and then it goes back to the practice. As long as you practice, you ain't got a problem. It's like left hand, right hand, man. You know both. And you just say there and you sit there and you play the track. And just smile and into the camera. It's fine. My first drum set was an acoustic drum set. And these are, believe it or not, with technology, they made electric drums sound like acoustic. And the thing about electric drums and acoustic drums, you can it's almost like saying you got in electric drums, you got 50 sets of drums in one set. An acoustic set, you only have acoustic itself. You can tune them different, but it's still going to be that same one drum set. With electric, it's fantastic. Plus it's more quieter, and you're getting a direct sound. If you're recording, you're getting a direct sound through the wires into the mixer, or however you're doing it. Now, the things about drum machines affecting music, or my music, or what I thought about when drum machine, I thought I was going to be unemployed. That's what I thought about the drum machines. We hated drum machines, and we hated things that would take your place in the music. You say, well, man, I'm going to be unemployed. This machine sounding good, and you just plug it up and record or put in the beat you wanted to do, and the drum machine did exactly with no problem. No take one, take two, take three, not a lot of takes. It's going to play exactly what you put in there for it to play, or record whatever you wanted to record. So that was the feeling about drum machine. We just thought about being unemployed. Same thing for the style of music. Now, we were playing straight R&B back in those days. Well, you think we felt, when disco came in. Because that was the next step in music back then. Disco came in. Oh, man. We don't play disco. We was playing the 2 and the 4. The funk. But we had to change. We changed with time.
So did disco affect you at all?
Yeah. Disco, no, we had to learn it. We had to learn disco, just like any other type of music. And if people were getting, just like people, how they change their clothes, styles of clothes, like bell-bottom pants, we had to do the same thing. Disco came in, we had to change. Instead of the drum beat going 2 and the 4, doom dop, the drum beat went psh, 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 psh. That's what we were doing. So we changed with time. I'm a strong believer that in anything that anyone do, a lot of people don't mix religion and politics and things together. But I'd like to say, you'll never know who you are until you know who he is. that is something I strongly believe in. And switching and switching from one phase of music into another phase of music. Sometimes you get lost. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's in store. You don't know about your life. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going on. Excuse me. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's in store. You think because you were up this high and everything's happening, and it switches, and you think your life is over. But then you say, well, you know what? I need to do what I was taught from my grandparents and my mom and dad. They taught me about going to church. They asked, you gotta, at some point you gotta grab it. You gotta believe in God. You gotta ask God, where am I going? Help me with this. Show me another route I can take to be successful. Show me what I need to do. So you ask him that, and you believe in that, and then you stop grabbing things saying, I can do it on my own. I wake up on my own. I breathe on my own. And you find out it's not true. You take another route. And the best route, I always say, is God. Believe in God. And whatever you want to do in life, music, it doesn't matter. If you stop and think and believe that God can guide you that way, and you stick to your belief, you can. Because I called hell at one point, thinking, well, hey, man, I was in a famous band. Now I'm not in a famous band. What am I going to do? And he answered me. He put me in a church. And I didn't know what church I was going to. I didn't have a clue. He put me in a church to play drums. But I also knew I liked wires. So they said, hey, they said, well, hey, if you like sound so much, instead of playing drums, why don't you be our sound man? Being that you like wires so much. Then I got even happier. I said, wow, now I no longer have to play drums, because not that I hate them, I just needed to switch. I needed to switch. And I found out that that's where he led me to. He led me up into the sound booth to do video and audio. So I love video and audio. I love it, because even my wife say, if she see a lot of wires on the floor, she knows she won't see me for the next 5 hours. No, I ain't going to bed. I ain't going here. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not even going to eat dinner. I love wires. I love hooking up things, making things work like that. And man, I'm so thankful that God led me in that direction. To it's like my next phase in life, And I don't even think about the money part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just something. It's incredible. It's incredible. You're in something that now you really enjoy. You didn't know you can do it. You had no clue. I had no clue. I just knew that I loved something, and he put me there. God said, James, man, come play drums in my church. I did it. I did the audition, and I made the audition. But I was playing and listening. I said, man, you guys can sound better than this. Church said, well, how you know? I said, well, I went up in your sound booth and I saw you had way much equipment than what you're sounding. They said, well, why don't we pay you more money and you be our sound guy? And from there on, I've never looked back. I've never looked back. I don't put nobody down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? S.O.S. is great. I love them. And my godson is playing drums with them now, and they loving him, And what I'm doing, I wouldn't give it up for the world. And I just say to everybody, keep your head to the sky. That's all I got to say. You can watch the full interview on Tim Talks.